This is another video to share some insight, some thoughts on our egoic self versus our soul spirit self. Why do we even want to learn about ego? What is the ego? Why is it important that we know about ego and soul? The ego tends to dominate our lives and kind of keeps our soul spirit in the background because it's taken over. So when we learn about the ego, we are able to acknowledge it, keep it in check, and stop the ego from taking over our lives. So what is the ego? The ego is that part of us, part of you, part of me, that is seeking for pleasure, seeking for gratification. The part of us that has endless desires. Okay, for example, let me say you see a pair of shoes, you're excited, I want to buy that pair of shoes, you buy it. After 1 week, you see another one, you buy it. After another week, you see another one, you buy it. Could be a pair of jeans, could be something, but it's that insatiable part of us that keeps desiring, seeking, wanting, and it doesn't matter what you give it. You will give it one thing, tomorrow you ask for another one. So when you know that that's the ego, when you probably desire something and know it's operating from the ego, then you can learn to check it out. The other thing is, the ego is also the constructs that we build, kind of build along ourselves in our mind, those roles, those masks we wear, those titles we give ourselves. For example, I'm a doctor, I am a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a sister, I'm a teacher, I'm a politician, I'm a writer, I'm a pilot, I'm an engineer. All those things are egoic. Now, when you take away that attachment, like I'm a teacher, I'm a mom, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, you take away sister, teacher, pilot, engineer, all that stuff, what remains? I am. I am is our true essence. I am is the ever existing presence. I am is the is. I am is our beingness. This is God. He is God. He's ever present, he's around, he's omnipresent, he's omnipotent, he's the ever existing, that is eternal, immortal, infinite. That is us. So the ego takes over, keeps your soul in the background, and completely takes over your life. How can we dissolve the ego? How can we kind of live outside of it? How can we step away and completely get away and live our own lives? So we want it not from the ego perspective. Okay, it's a lot of practice. It can be dissolved at some point, but it's definitely a lot of practice. But before you even embark on dissolving the ego, the whole existence of it, we just have to learn to keep it in check. How do we learn to keep it in check? Okay, for example, to be mindful of our thoughts or actions, our speech, the way we associate with other people, to literally be present and conscious and mindful. How you speak to the people, how you relate to them, your actions, how they affect other people. Then you keep them in check and understand, okay, I'm gonna do ABCD. Is it from a point of love, or is it because I just want to do it? For example, maybe you want to buy a car. Are you buying a car because you actually need a car, or you're buying a car because you want to show off? Are you buying a car because your friend bought a car, now that you want a car as well, or you're just buying a car because you need to get from point A to point B? So some of our decisions are egoic. So when you keep it in check, you understand now, okay, why am I buying a car again? Do I really need it? If you don't need it, you don't have to buy. If you're buying because you want to show off, you're driven by the ego. If you're buying because you're in competition, you're sure driven by the ego. So the other way is to respond to situations. Okay, let me say some guy you're driving, minding your own business, and some guy just comes over, takes over your lane, and just kind of disrupts you completely, almost causing an accident. Now, instead of you being, hey, why did you do this? You start swearing at this guy, being so upset and so mad about this guy. Why don't you breathe? Take some deep breath. Stop yourself from responding. Take a step back and think, okay, why did this guy actually behave the way he did? Why did he have to pass me? What if he's going in the hospital? What if he has an emergency? What if his wife is about to have a baby? So your reactionary just gets you upset and gets you in a sad state. That's the egoic kind of thing that always wants to elevate itself and be on top of things. So when you take a step back, you respond to the situation, you're no longer acting in egoic ways. The other thing is to make decisions that are based on love as opposed to logic or thinking. So if decisions are coming from the heart, that is from soul, from spirit. For example, let me say you had an argument with somebody, or you fell out, something happened, and you're too upset, you want to fight back or make sure you win, show your presence and let them feel you. If you keep it in check, you understand that that is the ego driving you. If you had an argument and probably to make peace, and just want to go and say sorry, make peace, move on. But if you're like, how am I supposed to say sorry? How would they see me saying sorry to this woman or this man? I'm not doing it. That is the ego driving you to behave like that. So when you go say sorry, clear the air, squash the beef, you move on, you're making peace, forgiveness. That is your soul spirit responding. Now another point is to learn to be more intuitive. So when we are more intuitive, we are actually listening to our spirit, our soul. We're making decisions from the heart, not from egoic senses. So as we make decisions from the heart, using that love-based, we are kind of eliminating the ego and stepping away from that part of ourselves and living more in our spirit. So the reason I actually wanted to make this video is because this ego thing is the one that keeps us in fear. Because your spirit is free, your soul is free, it's not afraid of anything. There's nothing that can kill the soul, can kill the spirit. You can't get rid of it. There's really nothing could happen to the spirit and the spirit is gone. It doesn't go. So if you start feeling fear, start being sorrowful, feeling inadequate, those are all egoic things taking over you. So God is love. I am love. You are love. Everyone is love. I am his love. So the ego says you are not enough. God says you are enough. The ego says you are inadequate. You are insignificant. God says you are everything. Ego says I can't. It's impossible. You will never. Soul says you can. You can do all things. Okay? Everything is working together for your own good. There's nothing is impossible with you. The ego keeps you upset. You don't want to forgive. Soul says forgive. Stay vibrant and happy. Keep yourself in bliss. That is all God. That is all soul. So learning to control our ego just helps us to actually be more happy and to be more mindful of our actions and everything, and to dominate our egoic self and live more in our true self, which is the soul, which is the spirit. Okay. I hope this brings some things into clarity or some insights I've explained, and that you can learn something from it. As always, thank you so much for watching my videos. Bye.